Hello, hi. I'm having a rough day. It's been a lot of emotions. Personally, I don't know. What am I blaming? Is there anything astrological happening? Hmm. I'm blaming the heat. You know what? Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Let's hop into some questions today. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Here is a very good one. Do you have to come out to live happily? I always say if you're in a position where coming out is going to do more harm than good, don't do it. There's this mindset where it's like, well, if I don't come out, I'm not living truthfully and I'm not living honestly and I'm living a lie. You're not. If you're not coming out for yourself, then don't do it. If it's not safe, if you could lose your house, if you could lose your family, if you could lose your job, your schooling, if you're putting your life in danger, there's no point in doing that to yourself. Is it amazing to live your life honestly and beyond, I guess, anything? Yeah, but you're going to be coming out for the rest of your life to every person that you meet in one way or another. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing every time. You can just exist. However, it's different if it's dealing with your gender, that can be different because of the way that we present and the way that we see gender in our society, and whether you identify as non-binary like me or trans femme or a trans woman or a trans man, it's very different. And once you start transitioning socially, there is that kind of assumedness that you're going to come out eventually. However, when it comes to your sexuality, that is very different. You might never be well, I don't want to say you might never be in a relationship, but maybe some of y'all will never be. I don't know. You might be losers. I don't know. Or maybe you just don't want romantic relationships and that's part of coming out for you. I I think that when it comes to things like um being gay or a lesbian or being bisexual or pansexual, there is more and more acceptance being brought out in those situations compared to if you're aromantic or asexual. That's when things get like iffy because that changes the way that people look at relationships, because a lot of people look at relationships as only one type of thing and don't really accept that relationships can be a whole myriad of things. And then if you're coming out as something like polyamorous, that is also a different thing because there's a lot of negative connotations with polyamory and poly relationships. What I'm saying is, if you don't feel like you want to, you don't have to do it. There is nothing, there is no one, you don't gotta fight. Well, coming out is one big fight. And if you're not prepared for that, that's okay. It's okay to say, you know what, I can't do this right now. I'm not in a space where it'll be safe for me to do this. The first person that you need to come out to is yourself. And that in and of itself is so hard. And once you're able to do that, that's amazing. And that is a huge, huge thing. Once you can finally tell yourself, like, I'm queer, I'm bisexual, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian, you can say that to yourself without any type of negative connotations behind that. That is so amazing. And when you're finally in that moment of peace, it can be wonderful, beautiful, amazing. And you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You really don't. I mean, I'm non binary and I identify as queer. I'm also trans femme. I present more femininely in my day to day life. It is what it is. And I identify as queer because, yes, I'm mostly attracted to men, but it's more masculinity. And I have been attracted to other non binary people that are masc presenting. And that can be like a, a huge thing. And that's also a thing that you have to explain to people sometimes because it's like, oh, I thought you were only interested in guys and now you're dating someone who isn't a guy or a girl, but they're still kind of mask presenting. It is what it is. And like I said, you will be coming out for the rest of your life. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to do this right now. And that's fine. It it's hard, especially in states like Texas, where there are pockets of really accepting people, but for the most part, there are people out there like who have only interacted with people they're related to and farm animals, and they have no clue the intricacies and nuances of varied sexuality and genders. It is what it is. And a lot of the machismo that exists in Latino culture is a huge part of the negative stereotypes that come along with coming out. I mean, for the most part, there are still so many people that don't even think that pansexuality or bisexuality exists. You're either gay or you're straight, which isn't realistic because there's so many nuances to sexuality and gender, and everything is just so fluid and can be so fluid. And funnily enough, that was another question. But before I get into the next question, for you specifically, I will pull a tarot card out, but I'm telling you this with love and peace in my heart. If you are not at a moment where you are ready to come out, you do not have to. The only person that you need to come out to is yourself. Once you can say to yourself, I'm this, without any fear in your heart, that's enough. And that's all it has to be. Let's pull a tarot card out for you. Sometimes I get on here and I sound so smart. Like, wow. I love myself. Unrelated, but also related. All right, so you got the Queen of Pentacles. This tells me that the person that you're really worried about coming out to is an Earth Mother in your life. Someone who, for the most part, is nurturing and generous and charitable, but is also incredibly practical and rules with logic a lot of the time. Yes, they can be nurturing and loving in all the best ways, but a lot of how they interact with the world comes from logic and how they view things. And that can be so hard sometimes because when it comes to things like your gender identity or your sexuality, that's a feeling. That's something that's ruled by your emotions and the chemicals in your brain and however they're like flopping around. It's hard when it comes to this type of person. I'm assuming they're probably someone that you've seen as like a mother figure in your life. And that can be so incredibly hard to come out to your parents, to your grandparents, to your caretakers, to the people that have raised you. I mean, if the people that have raised you don't know that like there's something going on, then that's a them problem. That really has nothing to do with you. That's them. That's on them. Because how can you not realize? You've known me since I was in diapers and you can't realize? Real eyes realize, real eyes. Yeah. It's hard. You never know. They could be the most amazing person in the entire world. And then it's like, oh, there's this one thing and they're not down with this. Yikes. But you won't know until you're able to sit them down and talk to them and say, this is this. It's hard. It's incredibly hard. And with Pride Month coming up, I always see when Pride Month happens, there are these people that will, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. There are people that will be like, that will post like videos and things like that. And they'll be like, I'm your parent now, come out to me. And there are so many people that don't get to experience a good coming out where they are accepted and they are loved and they never have to, worry about what the world is going to think of them. I'm crying. Oh my God. I hate emotions. Yeah. Anyway, just food for thought. And always remember that as long as you can be open with yourself, that's really all that matters. But in the same vein, there was someone else that asked, can sexuality really be fluid? Yes, it can. This is a very clear-cut answer. There's not much of a nuance. You might think you are straight your whole entire life, and then it changes. It does. attraction and romance are fluid and ever changing and ever growing because you as a human are ever changing and ever growing. There are some people that are straight their whole lives and they never experience attraction to the same gender. Or there are people that are gay their whole lives and never experience attraction to someone of the opposite gender. But it's a spectrum. It's fluid. It's crazy and it's fun. Explore life. Explore love. Allow yourself to fall in love whenever you have the chance. This isn't really the type of question that needs a tarot card because it is, but I'm gonna pull one out anyway because I feel like you're asking for a specific reason. So you got the sun reversed. Oh. So the sun talks a lot about feeling uncertain in a relationship and it leading to unhappiness and depression. I feel like, from what this card is saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, reach out to me again and tell me, hey, you were completely wrong. But this is saying that you're currently in a relationship and it's not going great. And now you're thinking, am I really what I've assumed I've been my whole life? Because now there's this whole other person and you're thinking, am I actually straight? Gender's fluid. You don't have to label yourself if you don't want to. You can live your whole life however you want. Sexuality is fluid, gender is fluid, everything is fluid. We are just animals who have assigned words to mean things, and they don't have to make sense. Live your life. Do what makes you happy. Live your life for you and follow your happiness. Fall in love whenever you get a chance. I think that is, it's a line from a movie, one of my favorite movies. And I stick by that. I will fall in love with anyone for whatever reason. But that also is because I have daddy issues. But that's neither here nor there. I've talked for long enough. Let's hop back into some music. Coming up, we have some Brie Runway. We have some... What do we got? We have some Lil Nas X. And something else. I don't know. I have to look through the stuff. You're listening to Moonlit Vibes with Gigi Santana, only on Becca Radio. But before we hop into some music, let's listen to one of the promos for one of the lovely shows that we have here on Becca Radio, the Valley Student Station. All right, that was Begged For You by Charlie XCX and Rina Sawayama. I promise I will not get teary-eyed again. That's a lie. I probably will, but not today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, let's hop back into some questions. Oh, okay. We finally have a continuation of a previous question. So this person previously asked if they should approach their crush, and I answered insightfully, hilariously, and honestly, who knows? I don't remember anything. But apparently it went well. And now they are talking to them in a romantic way, but they aren't sure if they... Basically what they're asking is, how do I know when is the right time to say I love you? If you have to ask, it probably isn't the right time. Because frankly, I love you is one of those things that there is such a connotation about when it's said, especially with relationships. It holds so much, what's the word? Gravitas. That might be the wrong word. Either way, it holds just so much, and when it's said, it can't be unsaid. And there's always that worry if you're going to say it and then the other person's not going to say it back. But also, sometimes you're that person where they say it and then you just sit there like a lump on the log and you're like, thanks, I love me too. And what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do in those situations? I've been in that situation twice. And both times, I've just made a joke. Because I'm a human being. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Yeah. If you have to ask, it probably isn't the right time just yet. there's always that thing where there was that quote that used to go around on Tumblr like years ago where it was like, if your crush can get a haircut, then you know you're still attracted to them. That's how you know you're in love. Um, I'm not a toddler, so I don't necessarily believe that. There's nuances to love. There's different types of love. Um, I've never, I've never said I love you and been like, well, to be honest, I've never said I love you to someone that I'm like romantically connected with in one way, shape, or in one. Do you guys ever feel like you're being too loud? In one way or another, and um, yeah, it happens to the best of us. Um, it's hard because you never want to be that person where you say it and then you just gotta like wait there and they don't say nothing, and that sucks because I can only imagine. And with that being said, like I mentioned, I have been that person where it's happened and I just don't say anything back because I'm what a baby. Yeah, love is love. The best piece of advice I can give you is wait until it feels like the perfect. It's one of those things where there is no formula to it. You just kind of gotta wait and see where the love lies. Tell me where your love lies. Anyway, yeah, it's one of those things where you have to wait. You have to feel the feelings. But also, for all of you out there that might be in that moment where someone has just said I love you to you and you don't know if you're ready to say it back, you do not have to say it back. You don't. I'm telling you right now, I may get canceled for this. You don't have to say it back unless you're ready. It's okay to not say I love you back. Like I mentioned, I've done it twice. But I've also had those moments where in the heat of the moment, you kind of want to say it and you're like, actually, I don't mean it, but I kind of want to say it just for fun. But you also don't want to do that. You don't want to say it and then be like, wait, I don't think I meant to. Oopsie. Because you really can't take that back. That's one jar of worms. Those worms are never going back in that can. And you're stuck there. Yeah. Love. Love is weird. Love is so weird. Let's see. Let's pull a tarot card out for you. What does the universe say? What are the spirits saying? Okay, so you got you got the Seven of Swords. This talks about failing plans, unwise actions, procrastination, and a feeling of loss. Just wait. Maybe in your situation, maybe wait for the other person to say it first, because I feel like your dynamic currently might be they can kind of tell that you like them a little bit more than they like you, and they're playing it by ear. So allow those feelings to manifest on their own. Maybe let them say it first and then take it from there. That's the best I can do. Shout out to those two guys that I never said I love you back to. And shout out to that one guy that I almost said I love you to. Not that I loved him, but I just kind of wanted to say it. Do y'all ever just want to start problems? We'll blame that on me being a Scorpio. Anyway, coming up, we have some. Wait, I only answered like one question. Never mind. Let me answer another question. Sorry, I was very excited to get back into this music. Let me check Instagram because I screenshotted, but I didn't screenshot everything. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Is there ever a good reason to cheat? No. No, if you feel like cheating, just leave the relationship. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're not happy in the relationship, just leave. Just leave. Don't put... because cheating is just however much pain that you're worried about putting them through by breaking up with them, you're going to put them through worse by cheating on them. There is never a good reason to cheat unless... well, unless you're in like an arranged marriage type thing, or the relationship is like very toxic, abusive, and awful, and you just can't get out of it, then maybe. But those are extreme circumstances, babe. There's never a good reason to cheat. And this person, like, kind of went into it. They aren't the cheater, but they're wondering if they should allow their, continue in their relationship with their partner after they've cheated. I have never in my life understood why people cheat. If you're unhappy in the relationship, just go. Just go. There is. Don't do that. Don't do that to someone else. Because being cheated on, whether it's like an emotional or like a physical or what, it's gonna ruin the way they look at relationships for the rest of their life. It just is. Don't cheat on a person. Don't do that. Be better. Do better. Get a grip. But as for you, trying to get back with someone after they've cheated, you're never going to be able to trust them the same way. And I guess if you can live with that, go off. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your mother. But I've never seen it end well, because you can never truly trust that person again in the same way that you once did. And you need trust and communication as a foundation for a good relationship. And if those things can't exist, then the relationship will never be as good as it could be. Yeah, let's put this haircut out for you though. Let's see what else they be saying. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Oh yeah, let me just drop everything. Okay. You got the Six of Wands reversed. So this news of treachery and disloyalty is recent, and by the looks of what the cards are saying, you have not even told your partner that you know it just yet. I'm a Scorpio, so my first instinct is vengeance, but sometimes it's not worth it, and it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not doing this. Because there is that, and I have never been in a serious relationship enough where someone else could cheat on me, but I have seen people that I care about have that happen to them, and the way that it just destroys them, because you're sat there and you're wondering, how could you tell me that you love me? How could you come home to me and lay next to me and tell me that you loved me and kiss me and hug me and everything, but cheat on me and be unfaithful one way or another? It'll just completely destroy your brain. I'm so incredibly sorry, and I think that it's okay to say it's okay to say I don't forgive you. Or if you do forgive them, it's okay to say, I forgive you, but I'm not doing this anymore with you. You don't owe them an entirety of an explanation, because at the end of the day, no one forced them to cheat. Wow. A lot of great questions today. At least I didn't start crying with this one. Yeah, coming up, we have some Bad Bunny, some Ariana Grande, some Kali Uchis. You're listening to Moonlit Vibes, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station, with your host, DJ Santana. All right, that was Prendelo by Miss Kali Uchis, and I was wondering why there was like a weird feedback. My lovely, wonderful brain forgot to turn the mic off. So if you heard echo right now, that's between you and God. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, that's my hour. I went a little over today because we had some rough, bumpy starts. But yeah, that was my hour. I will be back next week, I think. Vibing, living my best life, really and truly. Yeah. As always, you can send in your questions to Vaquero Radio, or you can send them to me, however way you find me. You could stop me in the middle of campus and yell at me. That's fine. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this week. As always, I am DJ Santana. You've been listening to Moonlit Vibes, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. Please be safe and don't let the heat get to you. Wear sunscreen. You don't want to get wrinkles. Bye.